Yeah. Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I'm your host, Krista Porter, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly webinar series where we cover a variety of topics that may be of interest to libraries. We broadcast the show live every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. But if you're unable to join us on Wednesdays, that's fine. We do record the show every week, as we are doing today, and it'll be available for you to watch later at your convenience. Both the live show and the recordings are free and open to anyone to watch. So please do share with your friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, anyone you think might be interested in any of the shows we have on NCompass Live. Here at the Nebraska Library Commission, we provide services and resources and training and grants to all types of libraries in the state. So you'll find shows on NCompass Live for all types of libraries. Public, academic, K-12, corrections museums, historical societies, et cetera. Really, our only criteria is that something to do with libraries. We have Nebraska Library Commission staff that sometimes come on the show and do presentations for us, but we also bring in guest speakers, and that is what we have today. Today we are going to be hearing all about Reader Zone. Reader Zone is a reading program app that is available here in Nebraska to all public school and academic libraries, paid for here with a statewide subscription by the Nebraska Library Commission. And joining us today is Denise Hardersch. Good morning, Denise. She is the director of our Central Plains Library System. We have 4 regional library systems in the state, and she's the one who got us started with Reader Zone, first set up the program, and she'll talk about that in a bit. And also Jake Ball, who's the founder of Reader Zone, is with us as well. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, and I'm sorry my camera is not firing up for some reason. I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to be a blank screen.
Yeah, well, you can keep trying to undo it and do it and see if it'll come up.
I'm gonna keep working on it.
See. Yeah. All right. Denise is going to talk a little bit about how we got into Reader Zone here in Nebraska, how it got set up, how it all works with you all being able to use it. And then Jake is going to talk a lot more about the program and do a demo of you can see exactly how you can use it in your library. So Denise, how do we get started with this?
All righty. Well, thanks for having us, Krista. Reader Zone has been such an exciting program for us. Honestly, it came out of a difficult time. Jake and I got acquainted in the spring of 2020. Ooh. COVID-19 was just rearing its ugly head, and I had librarians all across my system trying to figure out if they were going to have a summer reading program, how they were going to have a summer reading program, and what they could do to make it a little less face-to-face, because that's, handing papers back and forth. And at that point on it, we didn't know how it was transmitted, and we thought it could be by touch on paper. So we were trying to avoid paper. Right. And, we were wiping down all the books and the whole thing. It was at the very height of COVID. And like I say, Jake and I started talking because it was Kim Blackburn, actually, from Broken Bow Public Library, had contacted me and said, hey, will you look at this Reader Zone program and think about maybe subscribing to it for our system? And I thought, well, I probably can't afford that, because I'd looked at programs and I hadn't seen Reader Zone, but a lot of them are pretty expensive. Like they were really big dollars. So I told Joy that I'd look at it, and then Jake and I started talking, and at that point, then we decided to go ahead and subscribe, and then it went statewide because everybody was interested in how to run a program without passing papers back and forth. And so here it is 5 years later, and now the regional library systems, the 4 groups, and the Nebraska Library Commission are all joined together and are providing this service for statewide all kinds of libraries. And that's what's different about this program than a lot of them, is it can be used by public libraries and school libraries, all kinds of school libraries, and even academic libraries. And so it is a terrific program that the commission has paid for, and so we can have access to it and use it. As there's so many ways to use it, and Jake's going to give us an idea of all the different types of things you can do. But what I do is, on the commission's website, there is a page for Reader Zone.
And it's
And
linked from the session page now. And if everyone wants to go to it, you can also just, I believe, search our page for Reader Zone and you'll find it as well. Originally, right. and then this page was just created yesterday. I'll tell you. If you've looked for Reader Zone before, if you found it before on our pages, it was part of our Sally Snyder, our children's and youth coordinator, part of her summer reading program page, because that was how it was originally, as he says, started up, was what do we do for summer reading in 2020? So that's how it got originally started. We actually paid for the, I think it was the first year of it with ARPA grant funds. Remember the American Rescue Plan Act was the first grant, bunch of grants available in response to the pandemic. But since then, we've just used regular Nebraska Library Commission budget. So we are committed to continuing it. It's going to be an ongoing program. We know a lot of people always wondered about that, after the grant funds were done and the those COVID monies are no longer out there. What's going to happen? Is it going to go away? No, it's not going to go away. This is going to be a regular program offered through the Library Commission now in conjunction with the regional library systems. So you can definitely feel confident that you can join up and not have it get pulled out from underneath.
Then it won't go away. Yeah.
But I did just yesterday created a new page for Reader Zone, because it's not just for summer reading. It's for any kind of reading program you want. So and that's the link from the session page, so you'll all have access to that.
Right. So
it's
that
right
is
there on our page. Yeah, and it just has a little blurbs about it, and then it links to the form.
Right, which is what I started how we got into this. It's a very simple form. It's simply pretty much who's going to run your reading program. I need their name, their email address, and what library you're affiliated with, and then away we go. I will send you a welcome email to let you know all about how you register and what you do. And I mean, not register because you're already registered, but how you add groups to your program, because that's what my piece of it is. I put the program, that we'll have to get the terminology right. I put the program for your building into Reader Zone. Then each librarian who's in charge of the reading program is completely in charge of it. I don't even really look at it again, other than to get overall statistics, which we have a lot of numbers, I'm telling you. And it's great because it's easy for you to pull statistics as well, and to pull numbers, and so you can do reports. But each library has complete control over their own program. You can add as many groups as you want to it. If you want to have 1,000 books before kindergarten and you have the groups for that, right. Or if you want to have school readers, if you want to have adult challenge, you can have as many groups as you want, and they can all be so very different.
Some people do a winter reading challenge, now that season's coming up.
Right.
Do that one. Yeah.
And you can do, if you want to keep track of minutes, or if you want to keep track of pages or chapters or books, or you can keep track of any type of thing. So that's what's so nice about it, is the versatility of this program, and it has continued to morph. If you remember the 2020 program, they're out in Idaho, but they were still in the midst of COVID as well. So they kept changing it, and they listened. We had meetings with Jake during that time frame, and they put things in this program specifically related to what the Nebraska librarians asked for. So that's what's, I don't expect that to change. So if you have something that you're interested in, or it doesn't do, or it might do, or you don't know how to do it, you contact Jake and his crew. That team has been very responsive to all of us and what we want it to do. So Reader Zone is available, like Krista said, for year-round programs, not just during summer reading. And they have made it so much more convenient to, as time has gone on, to for your patrons, for your students. It's been it's really great how, and you can even do awards, and you can change those awards, and you can, I mean, there's so many things. I just get excited when I talk about it, but I better let Jake tell us more about it. But best of all, like I say, best of all is it's free.
Yes, free
to you.
Yep.
Because the commission has a subscription. So that it's not something that's free out there for everybody. It's just free for Nebraska libraries because the commission is paying for it.
Right.
But
and we have all types of libraries using it, right? Public, academic, and schools, K-12 schools.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And there's a number of schools. Actually, it's been developing. I was working with Jake, and then I kind of dropped the ball, but he was going to do a workshop specifically for school librarians, so we can get that in place too later on, so that they know how to use it best in their facility. But now I think, I don't know, Jake, are you ready to give us that demonstration and tell us more about it before I
I'm ready when
give
you
all the
are.
goodies away? All righty,
Yep.
well, here we go with Jake Ball.
Well, thanks a lot, Denise. Yeah, we actually, I started Reader Zone as an endeavor way back in 2014. And it was a free service that was pretty stripped down. And in 2019, we started to build it and try to build it into an actual digital product. And we actually came out of our beta test on March 9th, 2020. And that was just a date that we had circled on the calendar, not knowing obviously the world was going to completely change and never be the same again. And Denise called me and she said, "Can you roll this out for an entire state?" And I said, "I don't know. Let's find out together." And we did, and it worked out. But since that time, we have at present about 300,000 active users all over the world. Just this year in 2024, there have been almost 500 million reading minutes logged into our systems, system-wide, and a little over 3 million books and millions of other activities. If you haven't looked at Reader Zone for a little while, we have added we've probably doubled our feature set in the last 12 months. We released a new mobile app that I'll show you right here. And the thing that I usually start on the dashboard and show you how to build programs, and then go to the mobile app and show you what your patron or student experience is. I'm going to reverse that today. I want to show you the app first, because the app is where the rubber meets the road. This is where your students, patrons engage with Reader Zone. So I want to show you what the experience is for your patrons or your students as they participate with Reader Zone through the mobile app. They can also participate with Reader Zone through the Reader Zone website. And if they don't have a device and they want to use that sheet of paper, they can still participate. So let me show you. I'm just going to quickly walk through how this works. Our goal with Reader Zone was to make it such that any user can create an account, join a reading program, and then make their first reading entry in less than 3 minutes. After that, daily reading entries should take no more than 8 to 10 seconds. And that's important because when you are asking people to use a mobile app to log reading, if it takes more than 10 seconds for them to get in, do their thing, and then get out, you're going to lose them. The most common thing that a patron will do in relation to a reading program is if they run into any resistance or friction with participation, the most likely outcome is that they will stop. And we want to keep them going. So let's do this. I'm going to show you how your users or your patrons would create a Reader Zone account. So I'm going to click Get Started right here. And we're going to call this, we'll call this Reader Husker Bob. If I can spell that right. We'll click next. We'll put an email in here. And this is the app that is in the Reader Zone app store, just like anybody else's. What I'm doing is, this is what you see when you download that app and open it for the first time. I have my account now. I'll create my password. Accept my terms and conditions, click next, and that's it. My account is now built. Any Reader Zone account can have as many readers as your families need. So if you want to, if a family has 4 kids and they are participating in different programs or groups, they can all have one login. Your readers or you can also have multiple devices logged in the same account simultaneously. But if I'm going to be adding myself as a reader, there's my name. I can edit that if I wish. I click next, and next I have this reading program code. Every reading program, and I'll show you this in the dashboard, has a 5-character code. If you don't want your patrons, or if you don't want to bother your patrons with the code, there are other ways to sign up that are new that I'll show you. But I'll put a code in here that we use. It's F01A7. So once I'm here, I enter in that reading program code, and I can see the groups that are available for me to join. And you'll see this on the back end here in just a minute. But if I'm, say, going to join my 4th graders group and my adult readers group, I'll just join 2 groups here just to make it easy for us. I click next, or join selected groups, and I'm done. You can also ask questions of your patrons as they sign up into Reader Zone, so you can ask them any question you would like. You can make up your own question. You can make it required or not. But this is what school do you attend or will attend next year. We'll just skip that for now. But I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to read. And once I click go, I am in my program. The important thing for us is that when your patrons open up Reader Zone, they land on this screen. They don't have to log in again. They don't have to click 3 times to get to their program. This is it. We've had some patrons or some users of Reader Zone that have been logged in since 2020, and that's just great. So let me show you what it looks like to actually make a reading entry. If I'm in this adult readers and we are logging books that we are reading, I click that I read a book. I confirm that entry, and I can select a book that's already in my book bank or a book that I've already added, or I can add my own book. If I want to add a book here, let's say I want to add Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, an Idaho author. I can scan that barcode, and now it's in there. I can put in books I read or books I have read. So if I click in books I have read, I make that a reading entry, and that's done. I'm done for the day. I've made my reading entries. I've read 1 book overall. That's great. If I'm in a group that is logging minutes, I have this little timer. And you can see the goal here for this particular group is to read 300 minutes between March 8th and December 31st, 2024. Your patrons can see that goal down here. They can see the parameter for their group at any point. All of your readers have access to their book bank as well. So even if I'm in a group that's logging minutes, if I want to keep track of the books I'm reading, I can do that. So if I have finished each tiny spark, I can make that an entry in my reading program or not. Maybe I'll just click no, and that's that. All your patrons have access to awards here as well. You as a reading program organizer have complete control over how these awards work. So if I have a goal to say read 300 minutes over the summer, each 30 minutes is going to be a 10% increment. But I can control the image that appears here. I can control the trigger for when it fires, and then the message that appears down here as well. So you can tell your patrons, congratulations, you met half the reading program goal for the summer. Come to the library and pick up your new Land Rover, right? Or whatever the incentive is for that year. But these are really easy to work with. My favorite part, if we go back to the home screen here, if I'm gonna click pause, I click next, and I've logged a minute read. If I don't want to use the timer, I don't have to, but you can see I've unlocked my first award. And again, you can control the image and the message and the trigger right here, which is really great. If I want to make another entry, let's say I read 20 minutes, I click 20, next, and I'm done. Again, less than 8 seconds, and you're in and out of the app, and your reading program is done. I call it the 9 p.m. test. If it's 9 p.m. and it's time to make a reading entry for a child, it needs to take less than 10 seconds. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So my favorite part of the app, however, is the progress area. The progress area allows me, I'll show you this, to see everything I've done. So I can see I read one book, I read 20 minutes, 21 minutes, I made 2 entries. I can see the books that I read. And it's really fun for your patrons to scroll through this and just see all of their accomplishments over time. It's really rewarding for them to validate their efforts, especially for something like a 1,000 books for kindergarten program. They would be able to see the book jackets for every book they've read over the past 5 years, which is really, really fun for them. But that's kind of how the app works. You can have multiple readers in this account. I'm sorry, my creature's barking there. It's really easy to do that. If you have more than one reader, you would just have them, I would have a drop down up there at the top next to Husker's name, and I can make a reading entry for multiple children. And it's really rewarding to use the mobile app. So if you haven't used the mobile app or you haven't seen it for a while, I suggest to get in there and really check it out. So now that we've seen how the app kind of works, I'm going to go here and let's look at the dashboard and see what actually underpins the app. So let me move this out of the way. So this is the dashboard. This is what you see as a reading program organizer. So if I go back here, this is the group that I joined. If you recall, there was that 2024 summer reading program. And if I click into this, you can see Denise talked about reading groups. Now, each reading group can have its own parameters. So for example, my 4th graders here, which is that group that I joined, if I open this up, you'll see that I had a goal to read 300 minutes for the duration of the program. If I click into this, we'll click on our 4th graders group. Let's see if we can find Husker Bob there. He should be down there in the H's. Didn't I put him in there? Oh, I'll just do a search.
I think I saw him.
Did you see him?
Yeah, he's
There's
like the 3rd one down.
So here he is. So you can see how quickly this reacts. I can see the minutes, the number of 21 minutes that Husker has logged. I can see the books that are already in my book bank. And I can see really everything that's happened with this particular reader's account. On this individual reader page, I can make a reading entry. I can add an internal note. I can see the awards this reader has unlocked. If they forget their password, which is something that patrons love to do more than anything in the world, you can reset it right here. You can update it. So you really have kind of what we call God control over your reading programs and your readers from the dashboard. But going back to my summer reading program, we can see that there's a whole variety of different things I can do. So for example, here's my adult readers. This is that other group that we joined. This group is just logging the books they read between these 2 dates and not really working against a goal. I have another group that is just, did you read today? And the patron is answering yes or no. You can log your minutes. I mean, there's no, you can even log steps. You can make up your own metric if you would like. But the point is to make it such that you can really take any type of reading program parameter set that you are already doing and work it into Reader's Own very easily. That's the entire goal. So what you'll see here, if I go back to my program screen, one thing that we rolled out that has been pretty new is in my add program area, we actually have a whole suite of pre-built programs that you can just download or just pull right into your dashboard and they're already done. Very simple to do that. And once you pull these into your dashboard, you can just change any of the particular parameters for it and you're on your way. I like to do the quick start method and I'll just show you how quick it is for you to go and build a program and then build something that works for you. So if I am at, I'll put Lead Memorial just because that's a name that sticks out to me. And I know they already have a program. So I'll just show you what this looks like. So when we built this, we wanted to make it such that you can build a new reading program in less than 10 minutes. And so once I am on my program starter, I'll click next. I've created that bucket, which is for all my reading groups. So let's maybe create a reading group for pre-K readers. And we'll put in here, this is for kids ages 0 to 5. And maybe if I want to put more description in here, I certainly can. But let's say, for example, I just want my pre-K kids to read 5 books a month. So if I want to do a goal, I can do a goal. These are the metrics that are available, and you can see, you can even make up your own metric down there if you want to do a custom metric. But if I want to have these kids log books, I'll click next. If I want to have them read 5 books, did I say every month? I can do 5 books every day, week, month, or for the duration of the entire program or group. Maybe I'll just do month right here. I'll click next. We'll start this program November 3rd and maybe go through January 31st just to pick a couple of dates out of thin air. These next 2 steps are optional. The first is this additional sign-up question. This allows you to collect any demographic point that you would like from your patrons. These are some of the built-in questions, but you can add your own custom question that can either have a text field or a drop-down selector. My last step here is what we call the group book bank. This allows you as a reading program organizer to put any book in there that you suggest your patrons read. So for this group, maybe I like them to read Brief Thief, which is one of my kids' favorite book. I spelled that wrong. I can search for a book through a title, author, EAN, whatever I would like once I add this book. Now this book is one that I suggest they read. Once I click finish, this program is built and people can start joining this right now. And that is the whole point, was to make it so that it is not a painful, difficult, arduous process to build your reading programs. Let's add my groups in here. Denise talked a little bit about your awards. So in my awards area, these are all the awards that are available for this particular group. And I'm sorry, I got to move this thing out of the way. My GoToMeeting thing is kind of in the way there, but
you can minimize that if you click on the little orange arrow. It'll just make it a small bar.
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. My goodness, I should know this.
Sorry about that.
So on my award screen, you can see here, I can edit any of these. So if I want to change the image that appears here, I'm going to change the trigger for when it fires and the message down here as well. This is important just because we know that if you try to explain the entire, reading program to a patron kind of all at once, by the time they get to their car, they've already forgotten 90% of it. So if you can give them clues and information along the way, all of a sudden your participation can stay more consistent. For example, once they reach that 10% to overall goal, you can say, congratulations, you've read 30 minutes, come to the library and pick up your brag tag, your 30-minute brag tag. And they can see that and it is right in their face and they know what to do next, which is really great. One thing we rolled out last year is this thing called a task. The task allows you to create a task that is for you as a library staff. So if I want to have the task be pick up a brag tag, I can say, give the reader the 30-minute brag tag. And then I can have this trigger when that reader reaches the 10% overall goal. Now what will happen is every reader who completes that 10% or that parameter that I set up, 10% of that overall goal, they will have earned that brag tag. And then in the completed area, I can go in and check off the readers who have picked it up. So now I have a list of all my patrons and how I'm interacting with them. So I don't have to keep kind of a separate spreadsheet that shows who has picked up what prize or who has come in and talked to the library or whatever the interaction is that you want to create with your patrons. Now it will track it automatically and you can set up the parameters for how that is done. That's a new feature as of just a little bit ago as well. But going back to my programs here, I'll just touch on a few programs and kind of maybe get your imagination going a little bit about what you can do. The most popular year-round uses are 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. The way most libraries set this up is that they will go in and create its own program with its own program code, and then they create a group for each year that kids will start kindergarten. So for example, my kindergarten 2026 group has a goal to read 1,000 minutes before September 1st, 2026. So now when my patrons join this group, they're with their age cohort, and I kind of know, I have my arms around what's happening there. And we know especially with the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program, a patron signs up and they want to do it, but they just kind of lose the thread with them. And that happens a lot. We spend a lot of time building wonderful, rich reading programs, and it's very discouraging when participation isn't what you want it to be, or you have 150 people sign up and you have 12 people finish. Also not exciting. So we wanted to build in the platform a way for you to kind of keep the thread going with your patrons. So what we did is we built in this little notify readers tool. And through this tool, you can actually write a push notification that will come directly to the mobile app of whichever set of patrons you want to communicate with. So for example, if I want to reach out to my 1,000 Books for Kindergarten group, then I want to talk to my 2028, my 2027, and my 2026 kids who are going to start kindergarten, these 3 grades, I can come down here and say, don't forget to log the books you're reading, or we have a whole bunch of great new picture books at the library that we would love for you to come see, or we're doing this event at the library on Wednesday afternoon, come check it out. We have a lot of libraries that have started to use this function as kind of a primary communications tool with their patrons, because it comes straight to their phone and it's a notification, and all of a sudden you have some communication with your patrons instead of losing the thread with them. I know that many times you'll do a great event at the library, and the next day you have people come in and say, oh, I wish we would have known about that. We totally would have come. And you're like, oh man. We want you to get ahead of that. The email readers is the same way. You can come in here and write it's just an email message to whatever set of patrons you would like. Obviously, an email can be much longer because there's no character limitation with it. But again, you're not losing the thread with patrons who want to participate, because we know they want to participate. But I always say by the time they get to their car in the parking lot, they've forgotten 50% of what happened. By the time they get home, the paper reading calendar gets thrown out with the McDonald's bag, and who knows if it ever gets thought of again. But they still want to do it. So we want to make it easy for them. Let me show you some other tools. Well, actually, before I do that, is there anything I didn't cover, Denise, or any questions that I need to answer?
No, I think you're doing great, but I was going to say the program part of it is the piece that I do, the overall program, and I do put in a sample group for them to look at. And when I send out the welcome email to the librarian, I let them know that their program's ready, and here's the sample I put in, and you can delete it or change it or anything you want to do. And I direct them to the knowledge base that you have there on your website. And but yeah, so when our libraries get in there, they already have their program made. They just have to add their groups. So I think it's even easier and a little more and they can have their group. I just name their group the name of their building, whether it's a school or a library. That's kind of the way I've set it up, and then they can add whatever. I name their program that, and then they can add whatever groups they want.
If anybody has any questions, you can type into the questions section of your GoToWebinar interface. I've got that open on my screen, and I can grab those questions for Jake or Denise.
Okay.
If anybody wants to know any more, wants more info about anything, confused, want to see something just demoed again, or if you've used this at your library. I believe we had some people who did register today who are actually already in the program. Let us know your experiences too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. So while we kind of wait for questions, I'll go through some of the other tools down here on the side. The first is the manage readers. This allows you to take all the readers who are already in your programs and manage their participation. So if you need to move a group of readers from group A to group B, or you have your summer readers from 2024, you want to put them in your summer reading groups for 2025, you can do that all right here. This is a powerful way of managing the readers who are in your account. I'll show you this just because it's a new feature. It's the add/invite readers. This allows you to invite readers to participate in your program. So if I have a patron standing there at the desk and they say, oh, I want to participate, you can put their first name, last name, and email address in here, and then you select the reading program and group to which that they want to join. It'll shoot them an email, and they just log right in, and they don't have to enter in that reading program code, and they're on their way. We have a lot of libraries that will go through and let's do this. Let me show you this. And they'll do kind of a sign-up day at the library, and they'll just go through here and they'll just add more and more readers, and they put them in the groups they would like. And then once you're done, you click submit down here, and it invites all those people to join your reading programs all at one time. So it can kind of really facilitate the sign-up process, which is really great. Another thing that is available, if you have a reader who just doesn't want to use the paper or the app or the website, that's just fine. You can create an internal reader record. You'll notice here that this does not include an email address. And the reason why is because this is a reader who won't be participating electronically. So I can drop that reader into into my programs and groups. And then if they bring that paper reading calendar into the library, I can make those entries on their behalf and it's done. If at some point that reader decides, if George Reader decides that he wants to take over the reading program or his account on his own, I just add an email address to his record and he can take over and manage his own account going forward, which is really great. The progress badges, oh, go ahead.
It's good to add those internal readers. I was just thinking about it as why would you want to do that? Because then you just have to enter it from the paper, but it keeps all your stats together.
Yes.
That's what's great about that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's important is just keeping, if you can keep all your data in one place, that's very powerful. So this is my favorite part of the app. This is a real-time progress badge. You can go through and select the program and groups, and then it will create this real-time reporting badge for you. And we have a lot of libraries that have done a really good job with this, where they will take this badge. You can even turn it into an HTML embed, and I can drop it on any web page I would like. And this will take up in real time and show my community how much we're reading. And it's really fun to get that data out of the building and show your community how amazing you are. And it's really fun to, just to have those big stats. And you don't have to do this. It just will aggregate all your data automatically. There's no spreadsheets involved, no Google Sheets. It just does it all on its own. It's very powerful. The reports are obviously important because if you have data, you want to be able to pull it, use it, analyze it. My favorite part of the reports screen is the activity feed. And this just shows all of the data that has been logged into my account in chronological order. So it's really fun just to get in here in the morning and just kind of scroll through this and just see what's happened with your reading programs and just see who's doing what and just get a flavor for how your families are engaging with your programs. The overview shows you what's happening kind of group by group. And over here, it will show my cumulative reading data. And I think for the Nebraska, I looked at it yesterday, there's about 3.8 million minutes that have been logged over the past, I think 30 months or so, which is really fun. In the My Account area, you can have as many authorized users as you need for your account. Denise handles that for the Nebraska account. So if you need to add a new person to your account, just let Denise know and she's happy to add them.
I do.
When you go to your program screen here, if you land on this screen and you do not see this add program button, it's not broken. We just either need to add a program for you or change your permissions. And Denise, again, can handle that for you as well. I'll show you one last new feature here that some of you may not be aware of if you've used ReaderZone for a while. It's the My Homepage feature. This allows you to build a landing page for your reading programs. So if I want to edit this page, I can put in my library or school logo. I can put in a title. I can put some instructions in here. I can put in the programs that I want to expose to the public. And then when I publish this page, it gets its own URL. I'll show you what this looks like here. And it makes it so that it will really facilitate, again, signups and engagement with your patrons. This is what it looks like. Again, you can put your own logo in here. You can put your own phrase in here and even some instructions. And if a patron lands on this page and they want to join this summer reading program, they click join now. They step through the process of creating an account and joining that program. Then they are prompted to download the mobile app. And when they log in to the mobile app, they are in the program or group they participated with or they joined, and they're on their way. Really easy to get signups sorted out. So this is we have a lot of libraries that as soon as we launched this, they were on it very quickly and they launched their pages. We even saw that some libraries actually took that progress badge and they put it here in the instructions area as an HTML badge, and it displays their their data, which is something I didn't know was possible until I saw somebody do it. So it's really funny how things kind of get out in the world, and you just can kind of use them. But is there any questions I need to answer right now, Krista?
I do not see anything. Oh, yep, sure, we did have something come up. Hang on. Is there a way to see the book titles that are being read on the app? Is this somewhere where people could actually enter the specifics of the books they're reading?
Within the mobile app?
Well, it says on the app, yeah, or application. I mean, I guess anywhere in the.
Yeah, here, I'll show you the two ways to do this. If I'm here, I can, if I go to my 2024 summer reading program, we'll just go to that fourth graders group again. And look at that reader we added with Husker Bob, right? Within the mobile app or within the dashboard, I can see the books that this reader has entered as books to read. And I can also see books that they have finished. From this area as well, I can actually add a suggested title for this reader specifically. So if I want to add a title that I think this patron might like, I can put a title, author, EAN up here. And then if I add that book to the book bank, now this patron will see that book as a suggested title on their book bank. For you as a reading program organizer, you can see what's happening there on a reader by reader basis. In my reports area, I can also see all the books. If I go here to just book activity, I can see all of the books that my patrons, oh, maybe I'm not in the right spot. I can see all of the books that my patrons have logged or finished, and I can download that. I can also see that report if I pull a user report that shows all the activity for that particular user. So hopefully that answers that question. I'll mention here as well, I know for a lot of our adult readers.
Yes, they said that is wonderful, actually, is the.
Oh, good. Well, let me show you one more thing here that's important, because some of your adult readers may not want to report what books they're reading, and you want to give them a measure of privacy. That is just fine. If I go here to my books to this area and I go to my book bank, I can allow logging reading entries without selecting books. So in that scenario, the patron can say, I read a book, and they don't have to tell you what title they read. They can just say, I read a book. If they want to keep track of it on their own, they certainly may, but this allows you to, offer a measure of privacy if that's important to your patrons, to not report what books they're reading. So something that's important to some of our schools actually like to make it so that, students can kind of read whatever they want and not have to report exactly what they read. So it just depends on what your particular scenario is. But once you get into this, I always tell people, get in, build your groups, and just start experimenting with it. Your patrons will not be able to join any reading programs until you expose this reading program code. So there's a lot of time just to build and experiment and work with your programs and just see what is going to work best for your particular community. We also have activities. If you want to have an activities program that includes both reading and non-reading activities, this is what it looks like. I can do things like, did you attend a movie night? And they're answering yes or no. Play outside for 30 minutes. I can have reading specific items like read 250 minutes. It's really easy to create reading and non-reading activities in the same program. And you can make individual activities required or not required. You can set up a completion. So I can say that in this particular program, I can say you need to finish 3 out of these 9 activities in order to consider this program complete. But the program or the activities program builder has become very popular in the past couple of years. And it's just all about what is going to work best for your community and what you're trying to do.
Well, and I do have some libraries that are participating in that 1,000 minutes outside or something. It's got a big website. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
You do so much every month, and so this would work perfectly to go along with that.
Yeah, it would be great. I could say, I could say my group is play outside. I could say log the time you are outdoors, click next. And I can have this just be an activity log, and I can have it be, I can even do other. I can have the other be play. Well, let's just do minutes would probably be, if it's a minutes based thing, you do minutes. So now I'm asking my patrons to log how much time they play outside, and they can keep track of that. You know, so you can really measure anything you want. We have at least once a month I get a call from a library or a school or somebody who's saying, can we measure this? And I always say, I guess so, yeah, give it a shot. You know, there's no real limit to how you use this. If you have a question with regard to whether something will work, just let me know and we'll try it and see if it works.
Mhm.
There's my play outside group where I just log in the minutes we read or the minutes we play outside, and we're on our way. So
Well, and you can even do like the schools, they're always keeping track of how many minutes kids practice their flute or,
yeah,
you know, whatever.
yeah, we have a lot of people using it for music practice as well. It's funny you mentioned that.
Well, I remember
another
filling out the form and signing it. Oh, man.
Yeah, we don't want to do that anymore. There's no reason to have that. If one thing that I'll show you, this is important for schools, is I have, this particular group is logging the minutes they read. If I have a classroom of kids, I can come in here. If we come in after lunch and we read 20 minutes together as a group, you can select all these readers. And if, you know, BHNB was not at school today, that's fine, but I can make a reading entry for all of these readers at the same time. So if we all read 20 minutes today as a group, I can add that entry, and now we have made that reading entry for all this, for the entire group at one time, which is really important for schools because, you know, it just shortcuts that whole process of making reading entries for each individual kid. Another
that's
thing that's
great.
new is we have this new feature where you can allow photographs with entries. So if you are doing an activity, for example, you know, do a story walk or anything that, if you want to have proof, so to speak, that the kid did the thing, like visiting the museum or take a picture of the book that you read, you can allow an entry. So now when I make a reading entry, I can add a photograph to it, and that will come through on my activity feed, and you can see it on your end as a reading program organizer as well. We have a lot of libraries using this specifically for those story walks, where they will have the patron take a picture at the last stop on the story walk, so they can see that they've done it, which is kind of fun for them, and they can, you know, it's a great way of record keeping and just engagement altogether. So that's about all I had. I didn't want to overdo you with a lot of details, but I always invite you to reach out to us directly with questions you have. We love talking to you and seeing what you're doing. Before you launch your reading programs for the summer or the winter or whatever, if you just want to jump on a 10-minute Zoom call where we can look at your dashboard together and see how you set things up, I love doing that because I love to see how, number one, you're using the platform and making sure you're taking advantage of all of the features and tools to really make your programs work as best as they can. Once you go to readerzone.com, there's a resources tab here. The knowledge base is completely filled with articles and tutorials on every aspect of the system, everything you need to know. We also have a toolbox. This is filled with assets you can use to get the word out about your reading programs. There's printable flyers, there's social media posts,
Nice.
even help videos. This is yours to use. And if there's some sort of a promotional asset you would like to have that we don't have in there, just let us know what it is, and we're happy to build it and then make it available to everybody else. So I know we're just about at 1 hour.
There's Jake's face, in case, even though his camera's not working, but there it is on that video.
Yeah, that's what I look like. Sorry, it's a face for radio, I know, but we do our best.
Well, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about Golden Sower. That's our Children's Choice Award in the state here. It refers to the statue that's on top of our state capitol. It's why it's called the Golden Sower Award. And heck, you could start a Golden Sower program, put all those books in the book bank, then the kids just mark which ones they read because they need to read 4 out of the 10 to be able to vote. I mean, that would work. And then so many schools do battle of the books where they read certain books and then they get together and do questions on each one. I mean, there's so many options for using this. It's really.
Yeah, it's very vast.
Like you say, I get excited.
Yeah, it's just a matter of being a little bit creative, just getting there and just think about what I ask our customers to do is think about what would be the ideal outcome for your reading program. And then once we kind of have that understood, we can back into building that program in the dashboard. And we can usually do it. Something like that Golden Sower Award would be amazing. You put 10 books in the book bank, and the group has a goal to read 4 books to be complete. And so, they can check off the books they've read, and then they become eligible to vote. Would just be amazing. You can even, there's a lot there. So anyhow, I get excited too, just thinking about the different ways that we can use this.
Well, and I'm telling you, if you tried this, because we did have a lot of libraries that contacted me and I put in their programs and I look at them now and I'm getting ready to go through and clear it out because there's so many that never actually went forward with it. So then that way I can clear it all out, and if they want to rejoin, then I'll add them in again because they don't remember what their code was. And anyway, so it's just, but man, if you haven't looked at this thing, because like all those awards that you can change and put it up on your website, oh my gosh, there's just, you have added so many things, Jake. Since 2020, it's been wild ride.
Yeah, when we launched in 2020, we came out of our beta test on March 9th. And, when you come out of a beta test, we didn't have a billing system configured to it. I mean, there was more bugs than a square mile of the Amazon rainforest. But, we've put a lot of effort and time and care into this. And we only build features based on feedback from our customers. So if there's something in there
those questions.
That
was a Nebraska feedback.
Oh, it was?
Putting in those questions so you can figure out which school kids went to and all of that. That was a Nebraska thing.
Yeah. What we kind of do is we have literally the whiteboard in my office has kind of an informal list of what we are receiving the most requests from. And over the past couple of months, it has become, one thing you can do here is you can clone any given reading program. So if you did your 2024 summer reading program, you can clone it and have that, and so you don't have to remake it for 2025. But it pulls all the readers who were in that program last year into this year's program. And so then our big request is that you can clone programs and not pull the readers over. The other big request was making it such that if I want to end this program on December 31st, that we can make it so that readers cannot make reading entries past December 31st, which right now they can for up to 10 days. So just, we just are always trying to keep our ears really, really big, so we know what could really help you run programs that work for your communities.
Yep.
All right, we're a little after 11 o'clock, but that's okay. We did start a little late because we had some weird technical things going on at the beginning. We have some thank yous coming in. Thank you, presenters, very useful. Does anybody have any questions you want to ask of Jake or Denise about this? Type in the questions section of your interface. We'll try and get to all the questions you have today. What else did I say? And if there's anything else you want to see Jake demo here, let us know. As I said, this is a great resource. I think there's lots of services like this out there available to you, and you may already be using something else, but you are welcome to switch to ReaderZone if you want to.
Yeah, it's already free, paid for.
It's already paid for. Yes, this is covered. Yeah. So, not seeing any new questions come in. If there's anyone who's used it in their libraries who's on with us, let us know. If you want to share your experiences or talk about what you've done.
And I'm putting our phone number and my email in here on the chat, so everybody has access to that.
Yes, and we'll include that here. Let's see.
Yeah, I was shocked that first time I dialed that phone number and Jake answered.
I still answer it, Denise, every day.
I whoa.
It is actually Jake who you will talk to. Yeah. All right. Doesn't look like we have any other desperate questions or things coming in right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull presenter control to my screen and show you how you can actually sign up for this too. So this is just the session page for today's show. I've got some of the links in here linked to the main ReaderZone website, but this one here links from this session page to the page that we set up specifically for signing up for ReaderZone. But I also want to show you, if you just from anywhere on our Library Commission website, there's always a search box up here. Here it is on this page for today's show. Here it is on our main homepage. And if you just type in ReaderZone and hit enter, we have it as what we call one of our best bets, our starred pages. It comes up right as your first result. And then here is the page where we've got some basic info. It really is very, very short and sweet on here, just basically telling you this is something we have available. It's available to all Nebraska public school and academic libraries, statewide subscription paid for by the Library Commission. You just click here and you get to the Google form that you just need to complete. Email name, very basic information, and then submit. So it's just a one-page form, and then this goes to Denise, and she gets you set up in the program. And that's it to get started. Then you got to do the work to get it set up in your account.
And I'll send you that 5-digit code and all the information you need to rock and roll.
So very easy to get going with it.
Well, very good.
Yeah, all right. So I think that's it. I don't see any other desperate last minute questions people typed in while we were showing that. So I think we will wrap things up for today's show. Thank you so much, Denise, and of course, Jake, for being here and showing us ReaderZone. We love it here, obviously. And as you can see, it says we've got access. This is an annual subscription, so I know the description of the show here says through September 2025, but it will be an ongoing thing that we are dedicated to doing that. So it's just 1 year at a time it gets renewed. So if you would like to do it, sign up, reach out to Denise or Jake with more questions that you have. Thanks so much, Jake. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's great to see you all. We look forward to hearing from your wonderful libraries.
Yeah, awesome. And thank you, Denise, for helping tell all about this.
Yep.
All right. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's great. It just takes me a little bit when I gotta check my emails on a regular basis, and then I'll send it out as soon as I get it put in.
Awesome. All right. So as I said at the beginning, today's show is being recorded, and it will be on our page available to you hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow at the latest. If you use your search engine of choice and type in NCompass Live, the name of our show, you'll get our main show page, and our archive page will come up in your results. This is our upcoming shows, but right here is a link to our archives. Most recent one is always at the top of the page. Everyone who attended today's show and registered for today's show will get an email from me letting you know when the recording is available. There'll be just a session to look like this. We didn't have a slide presentation for this one, but it'll just be a link to the recording on our YouTube channel. We also send out to our systems mailing list, so you will see that email as well. And we have, if you notice too, on some of our pages, we have a Facebook page for NCompass Live. If you like to use Facebook, give us a like, and you'll get notices over there. Here's a reminder to log into today's show, announcing the show, and then here's one from last week's announcing the recording is available. So we post here on our Facebook page and also to the Library Commission's Twitter account. We use the hashtag NCompLive, a little abbreviation of our show name. So if you don't want to follow that on, if you are a user over there, you can do that. You can search our show archives if you want to see if we've done a show on anything else. This is our full show archives going back to when the show first premiered. I'm not going to scroll all the way down because this is a giant page, to when the show first premiered in January 2009. So if you do watch any of our older shows, just pay attention to the original broadcast date. They all have dates on here, tells you when the show first happened. Some of these will be perfectly fine to watch, stand the test of time, still be good, useful information, but some things will become old and outdated. Links might be broken, services may have changed drastically or no longer exist. We got 16 years worth of shows in here. People may work at a different place than when they first presented for us. So just pay attention to that date if you do watch any of our show archives. Our archive shows. But as libraries do, we keep things for historical purposes oftentimes, and as long as we have a place to host all of these, which right now is our YouTube channel, we will always have them available to you. All right, so that wraps up for today. Next week, it is the last Wednesday of the month. Oh my gosh, it's the end of November already. And that means it is Pretty Sweet Tech Day. The last Wednesday of the month, Amanda Sweet, our technology innovation librarian, comes on the show and talks about something tech related. And next week, she's going to be talking about Internet Librarian Conference. This was a virtual conference. It's always in October, and she attended, and she's going to talk about some cool things that she saw there. You all notice here, you'll see we've got a couple weeks we are taking off. She will not be doing a show at the end of December. She'll be back at the end of January because we're on Wednesdays, and December 25th, Christmas, and New Year's Day fall on Wednesdays this time around. And as a state, we are closed those days. As a state agency, the state, those are federal holidays. So we'll be skipping NCompass Live for 2 weeks, but we've got December shows, and there's another day in December. I'm still getting filled, but there will be a show, and then we'll be back on January 8th in 2025. So hope you will join us for some of our other shows. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jake and Denise again. And hope we will see some of you on a future episode of NCompass Live.
Awesome. Thanks, Krista. Thanks, Denise.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.